Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Today's story takes us into the maze of a large international organization where hierarchy matters, red tape is legendary, and a single junior employee accidentally becomes the most efficient shortcut in the entire system until bureaucracy decides to fight back. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. My director tried to punish me for working across departments. Decades ago, 90s, I worked as an information researcher for a High Commissioner, HC, in an international organization. I had a junior position and was 26. During the first years, people at the head office started to reach out to me as well for little requests, as I pride myself to be thorough and fast. Someone in the head office took a liking to me, so when a temporary opening at head office required a process analyst, which I had studied as well, I was formally requested for secondment. The HC complied, and off I went to a different country. The relationship between head office and the field offices was strained for various reasons, and the red tape was worse than the Byzantine Empire. Now, the project wasn't that interesting. Record internal processes in HR and point out flaws, and less of a challenge than initially presented, but it gave me a wonderful insight into the workings of the head office. Who decided what and where to go when you wanted an answer or a decision? Before long, the office of the HC started to direct requests to me if they needed anything from head office without invoking the dreaded red tape. As a junior, this was a definite boost for my self-confidence. A couple of weeks into my job, another international office called me. They had received guidance from the HC that if they wanted anything done at head office, they should call me. So in the time that followed, I would regularly receive calls asking me to arrange all sorts of things, which I did. In the meantime, I'm still working on my project. Remember, I'm still a junior. And then it all went pear-shaped. On a Monday morning, I received a call from the policy director of the HC. There will be a ministerial conference in the town of the head office, but there seems to be some doubt over the hotel arrangements. If they fax me the details, would I be so kind to go to the hotel this afternoon and talk it through with the general manager? Sure. So I take the afternoon off and arrange everything. The next morning, I'm called into the office of my department director, who's furious, and my manager standing next to him with her arms crossed. I'm not allowed to sit down, and I'm asked where I was yesterday afternoon. Seeing no problems, I tell them about the call in the hotel. The director then tells me in no uncertain terms that I am not allowed to do work for other offices whilst on the payroll for this office. If I'm to lift one finger, there would be grave consequences. Furthermore, pay will be deducted for my absence yesterday. I managed to get in that I took an afternoon off and did it in my own time, but they deem it unpaid leave anyway. In comes MC. Dejected, I sit at my desk, unable to fathom what I have done wrong. Later that day, I get two calls, one from HC and one from the other office, and I inform them that by instruction of the director, I've been forbidden to do any tasks not related to my current position. Please go through regular channels. You can imagine how both reacted. The red tape in this organization is legendary. I get more calls from even higher-ups in both offices, pleading me to bend the rules just a teeny bit. I mean, it's more of a guideline, wouldn't you say? I hold my ground and suggest they need to clear it with my manager or the director, but that my hands are tied. The next day, the process repeats. The political director calls concerning the conference. Can I contact translators and go through the flight plan of the HC and staff with the limo company? No? What? And I repeat my mantra. He gets furious and starts shouting, not at me, but the general incompetence of head office, with some choice words about certain directors there. The next morning, my manager's secretary walks into my office. She's nervous. Please report to the Secretary General's, SG's, office immediately. The tone lets me know something horrible is afoot, so I actually ran there. The SG secretary greets me with a malicious grin. Oh, you've created quite a mess, have you? I still don't know what's going on, but could see my immediate termination in a not-so-distant future. As I walk in, there's the SG, my director, and my manager. The SG is fuming. He explains to me that a formal complaint is being prepared by the HC and the head of the other office over the lack of service from the head office, whereby the HC had even hinted that the department was trying to derail a ministerial conference. This all due to the fact that it had come to their attention that people have been directly instructed not to assist the two offices. Is this true? Yes, I've been told that I'm not allowed to perform any duties for any other office while on the payroll of this office. With me present, the SG looks at both and asks, which idiot has decided this? The director states that he decided this based on the information from my manager. The SG tells him, well, this morning I've been shouted at by the HC and the head of office from the other office, and I don't like being shouted out. He looks at me and tells me, whenever you receive a request from those offices, I want you to execute these with priority and diligently. This overrides your assignment. If there's any discussion, refer to my office. However, you will report to me weekly on the nature of these requests. My office will confirm this in writing. I nod, say thank you, and get out of there. Inside, shouting ensues. The secretary winks at me with a broad smile. A right mess it is. My head's spinning. Part of my work now falls under the direct supervision of the SG. From that time on to the end of my secondment, I basically could do whatever I wanted. I attended the conference at the personal request of HC and did everything that was asked of me. I continued to receive calls from the various offices and ran errands for the SG office. I even went to other countries to have meetings there at the request of offices. I finished the project ahead of time and became a go-to person for a lot of people, even when I returned to my own office. After I got back to my office, I received an immediate pay raise, new tasks, and a number of wonderful letters of recommendation. The HC and political director had personally asked for them, which helped tremendously when I changed positions years later. Although the HC has long since passed, I still remember him fondly as a man who had your back no matter how junior or lowly your position. You just did good work, respected authority even when it worked against you, and let senior leadership decide what mattered. The fact that it resulted in autonomy, trust, and long-term career benefits says a lot about how rare that kind of professionalism is, especially from someone so junior at the time. And our second story. A pick-me girl got promoted for being the GM's friend. Me and this person, we'll call her Karen, started working at this fast food place around the same time. I was like 18 at the time, she was like 16. I started working there because my friend worked there and he became the GM before getting fired for reasons he doesn't even know, but we did goof off a lot, so it's not a total shock. Anyways, that led to one of the new guys who just turned 21 to become GM, which wasn't too bad. Fast forward to around now. I, 19-year-old male, started dating this girl, Gina, 17-year-old female, who also worked there. And the GM, as well as some others, thought the age gap was weird, and I think because of this, they refused to promote me like they said they would, and because I was friends with the old GM. I wasn't too upset. I mean, it's fast food, but I wanted more money, and on top of that, they decided to promote Karen to a person in charge, a manager that runs shifts, but not like the big boss like AM or GM. I thought that made no sense because she's very immature, talks about getting high all the time like she's cool for doing it. Like, yeah, I smoke too, but I don't have any reason to talk about it, especially at work. Vape in the back where the cameras couldn't see. And most importantly, she'd talk about her personal life at 17 or younger, which is wildly inappropriate. I'm pretty sure she was only promoted because she had recently turned 18 and they needed more PICs. On top of that, her and the GM, now like 23, started getting really close. And not like romantically, but to the point that they would go to restaurants together at like 4 a.m. alone while he had a girlfriend. This was after he was talking about me and my girlfriend's age gap being weird, but whatever. So admittedly, I was frustrated with that decision, but still didn't really care all too much. One of Gina's friends started working there, Heather, and eventually got promoted over me too because she became such good friends with Karen. Me and Gina talked about how it made no sense because she was new and I was clearly more qualified. Gina then tells Heather that she's happy for her promotion, but it seems like she only got it because she's friends with Karen. Heather then tells Karen, who then starts talking crap on me and my girlfriend, but mainly my girlfriend, saying she needs to grow up. which had us both mad because this was coming from the smoking, personal life-sharing, pick-me girl who messes around on her shifts and plays cards and Among Us in the middle of a shift. But even then, I still didn't care too much, just thought that I'd put it behind me and be the bigger person. Eventually, they needed another AM because the higher-ups needed more people to take care of the store and stuff, so they tried to promote Karen, but she's so bad at her job that she failed, so instead of saying promote someone else, the GM said they were just going to retrain her, which is just stupid. I was really thinking of quitting because I did not want her as my boss, and the fact that the GM was so biased towards getting his little Discord kitten promoted was pissing me off because it's ridiculous. One day, me and my girlfriend jokingly said we should take a video of her vaping and send it to the regional manager. This is the person above the GM who's corporate, and they are very about the rules. Vaping in the store at all is a fireable offense, but people have gotten in trouble for it before and only got a slap on the wrist. Jokes turned into reality as the next we did was get video of her vaping in the back in 4K. The plan was that she would just get demoted or just not become AM, as corporate wouldn't like that, and they already didn't like her because of her being so bad at her job. I'm not normally a snitch, and I do not care about vaping in the store at all, but I disliked her so much, I wanted her demoted so bad that I sent the video to the regional manager with the whole paragraph of BS saying it's unfair and all that. The regional manager responded saying she'd handle it and hearted the message, which I thought was funny, showing how she wanted something to get her out. A couple days later, she was fired, and I had unnecessary amounts euphoria. She suspected we had something to do with it, but she doesn't know for sure. Now she works at Walmart, and she looks miserable as she's not just doing nothing and getting paid $20 an hour anymore, and I love it. And our last story. He called me a C-word for parking in his emergency vehicle spot. This story happened 20 years ago. I worked as a firefighter as an investigator for an independent department. For context, an investigator was the rank of lieutenant and was based out of a large station, 2 engines, 1 newer 110-foot tower ladder truck, relevant later, 1 chief's car, and 1 utility truck. Every day, the food duties changed from firefighter to firefighter. This particular day, it was my captain's turn to cook. Cast: OP, me; Mike, friend/store manager; Captain Tui, my boss; Mark, the entitled jerk who lost his car. My friend Mike worked as the GM of a small grocery store. There was a long, empty space in front of the store marked with a very clear sign, emergency vehicles only. Enter Mark. Mark had a nice-looking BMW and made a habit of parking in that spot every week. Mike told him he couldn't park there. Mark's response was, "I can park wherever I effing want. I make more in a day than you make in a week." Mike called me complaining about Mark, so I agreed to come by and watch the spot. I got into our utility truck, which had department decals on the doors and a single red light on the dash. I parked in the emergency vehicles only spot. As I was walking into the store, I heard, "You can't park there. That's my special spot." I turned and looked at Mark. "Excuse me," I said. "I'm on official duties and I can park there." I pointed to the department decal on the door. Mark looked and said, "You can't be a firefighter. You're a girl. Move your truck and leave, C-word." Now I'm proud of my job. In a department of 2,000 firefighters, I was one of only 5 women. I graduated top of my class. I just stood there for a moment, shocked, then very, very angry. I walked into Mike's office to get more information about his ongoing issues with Mark. As Mike explained the repeated parking violations, I noticed a small notice on the fire suppression system that said the inspection was coming up. I smiled. I had an idea. I gathered the information I needed, left Mike's office, and drove back to the station. I went straight into Captain Tui's office and told him everything Mark had said and done. Captain Tui was a 6'6", 320-pound Samoan man who treated everyone like family. His face turned bright red. I explained my idea. He got very happy. He immediately called a station meeting. I laid out the plan. We'd send out a fire drill, inspection by dispatching the older ladder truck and 1 engine to the store. Mike would call the station the next time Mark parked in the fire lane. Fast forward 2 weeks. Mike called the station and said Mark had just parked. As I was thanking him, I heard the store's fire alarm activate. I changed into my investigator uniform with turnout gear, notified Captain Toohey, and we rolled out. I rode in the ladder truck. When we arrived, Mark's BMW was sitting perfectly in the emergency vehicle spot. I radioed for one engine to pull directly in front of Mark's car and the ladder truck to park right beside the driver's door. As I stepped out, the engineer began setting up the ladder. 4 massive support outriggers dropped, one of them crushing the front of Mark's hood. The alarm was blaring. A firefighter smashed the window so they could run a 5-inch draft line from the pump to the standpipes straight through the front seats of his car. Inside, Mike was evacuating customers as required. Mark came running out, saw his car, and absolutely lost his mind. I radioed PD and requested officers for a male interfering with a fire operation. 3 officers arrived. I waved them over. "Hey, leave my firefighters alone." Mark turned, recognized me, and charged over, screaming that I'd pay for destroying his precious car. I warned him to back off or he'd be arrested. He got right in my face, yelling, "You did this! I'll have your job for this!" Then he shoved me. The officers and I tackled him immediately. After he was cuffed, I calmly informed Mark that he was under arrest for assault and interference with a fire investigation and that his vehicle was being towed for parking in a fire lane. Later, I found out the BMW was totaled. Mark received 12 months probation for assault and interfering with the fire operation, $500 fine for parking violations, the towing fees, and he lost his precious BMW. Worth it. Captain Toohey's the real hero of this story, to be honest. Not because he was mad, but because he listened, trusted your judgment, and let the system do what it was made to do. No bragging, no revenge fantasies, and no easy ways out. Just a clean answer when the phone rang. Mark lost his car because he thought emergency access was a personal parking perk and didn't back down when reality hit him with sirens. Some people only get the idea of limits when they're enforced with steel, hydraulics, and handcuffs. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.